You want to change. You can feel it clearly for a moment. You imagine the better version of your life. Then, somehow, your hand reaches for the old habit again. The same snack, same screen, same delay. And after it happens, you ask a painful question. Why do I want to change myself, but keep falling back into the same old patterns? It can feel like some hidden part of you is quietly working against your future. But this is not just a story about willpower. It is also a story about an ancient nervous system trying to keep life predictable. Your brain was not built mainly to reinvent itself every Monday morning. It was shaped to survive, and survival often rewards the familiar. A familiar path costs less energy. Food feels safer than an unknown one. Social reaction can feel safer than a new risk. Routine lets the brain move without thinking too much. That is useful when the world is dangerous, food is uncertain, and one mistake can cost a lot. But in modern life, the same system can trap you. You can understand that a habit is bad for you. You can honestly want something better. And still, when stress rises, attention fades, or discomfort appears, your brain may reach for the pattern it already knows. That does not mean change is impossible. It means change is not only a decision, it is a negotiation with an older part of your biology. A habit is not just an action you repeat. It is a shortcut. The brain takes something that once required attention and turns it into an automatic path. Scientists often talk about the basal ganglia, deep brain circuits involved in learning repeated actions and turning them into routines. In simple language, this is one of the systems that helps your brain say, if this situation appears, do that thing again. This is why you can walk into your kitchen and open the fridge before you fully know why you are there. It is why your fingers can unlock your phone before your conscious mind has made a real choice. The old reaction can arrive faster than the new intention. Your conscious goal may speak in words. Your habit speaks in timing, cues, body tension, memory, and reward. And often, it speaks first. The psychologist William James noticed something important more than a century ago. He wrote about habit as a way the nervous system makes repeated actions easier. The more an action is repeated, the more the body seems ready to travel that road again. Modern neuroscience has filled in more of the machinery, but the basic feeling is familiar. The first time you try a new behavior, it feels effortful. The 100th time you do an old behavior, it feels like gravity. That gravity is not imaginary. The brain is an energy-expensive organ. It uses a large share of the body's fuel, even though it is only a small part of your body weight. So your brain has a deep interest in saving effort. It prefers predictions, prefers patterns, and knowing what comes next. When a behavior has worked before, even in a small and temporary way, your brain marks it as useful. Not always good, healthy, and useful. There is a difference. A habit may reduce discomfort for 5 minutes and damage your life over 5 years. But the older parts of the brain are often more sensitive to the 5 minutes. A snack gives quick energy. A phone gives quick novelty. Avoiding a hard task gives quick relief. Withdrawal gives quick safety. The long-term cost is real, but it is distant. The immediate relief is now. This is one reason old habits return when you are tired, stressed, lonely, or uncertain. Under pressure, the brain often shifts away from slow reflection and toward faster survival routines. Robert Sapolsky, who has written deeply about stress biology, describes how stress changes the body and brain so they can deal with immediate demands. Stress is not simply a feeling. It is a whole body state that prepares you to respond. Your heart, muscles, attention, hormones, and threat systems all change. That can be useful if danger is immediate, but it can make long-term self-control harder. When your body feels under threat, it does not naturally ask, what kind of person do you want to become over the next 10 years? It asks, what has worked before to reduce this feeling right now? That is why a bad day can bring back an old habit you thought you had defeated. The habit was not gone. It was waiting for the right cue. A cue is a signal that tells the brain a routine might be useful. It can be a place, a time of day, a smell, a mood, and many more. You may think the habit begins when you perform the action, but often it begins earlier. It begins when the brain recognizes the pattern. The researcher Wendy Wood has studied habits in everyday life and shown how strongly behavior can be tied to context. In plain English, the environment can hold part of the habit for you. The couch, the phone, the kitchen, the route home, the hour before sleep. These things are not neutral. They become triggers. They whisper the old sequence before you have chosen anything. This is why change can feel easier in a new place. On a trip, after moving homes, during a new job, or at the start of a new schedule, your old cues are weaker. The brain has not yet attached the same routines to the new environment. But when you return to the old room, the old chair, the old stress, or the old relationship pattern, the previous self can feel like it is waiting there. And that is the key if you want to change yourself. Your nervous system remembers life through places, timings, sensations, and rewards. Now imagine your ancestors in a world without supermarkets, calendars, electric light, therapy apps, or motivational videos. A small group moves through a landscape where energy matters. Food is not guaranteed. Injury is dangerous. Social exclusion can be deadly. Darkness hides real threats. The brain that survives in this world cannot spend all day questioning every behavior from first principles. It has to be quick. If this path led to water before, take it again. If this plant caused sickness, avoid it. If this person is safe, stay close. And you know what I mean. In that world, falling back on old patterns is not always a flaw. It can be a survival feature. A creature that constantly experiments with unknown behaviors may waste energy or take unnecessary risks. The primitive world favored organisms that remembered what had worked in the past. The problem is that your modern habits are not always attached to ancient survival needs. Your brain can treat a glowing phone like a source of social information. It can treat processed sugar like rare energy, avoidance like protection, familiar sadness like safety, because at least the old feeling is known. This is evolutionary mismatch, meaning a system shaped in one kind of environment is now living in a very different one. Of course, we don't want that mismatch in today's modern world. The mismatch is that modern life can offer ancient systems rewards they were never built to resist at this scale. Kent Berridge has helped clarify something important about dopamine, a brain signal involved in wanting, seeking, and learning what to repeat. Yes, you heard that. Dopamine is not simply pleasure. It is more like a signal that says, pay attention, go toward this, remember this. That matters because many old habits do not even feel deeply pleasurable anymore. They just feel compelling. You do not always enjoy the scroll, not always enjoy the procrastination, or the argument, the comparison, the late night snack, or the familiar loop. But your brain has learned that this behavior creates a shift, a little novelty, a little relief, and a little control. A brief escape from the uncomfortable present. So, it pulls you again. This is why wanting to change is not enough by itself. Wanting belongs to one layer of the mind. Habit belongs to another. Your future self may want health, peace, confidence, focus, or courage. Your present nervous system may want comfort, certainty, and quick relief. Both are you, but they are not always working on the same timeline. One part of your mind can plan a new life at 10 p.m. Another part can repeat the old habit at 7 a.m. before the plan has even woken up. Change often fails because the plan assumes the future version of you will be calm, rested, motivated, and clear. But the future version of you is still a human body. It gets tired, it gets hungry, it gets rejected, it gets bored, it gets stressed. And when that happens, old survival shortcuts become attractive again. This is the counterintuitive twist. You do not fall back into old habits only because you do not care enough. Sometimes you fall back because your brain cares about protection, energy, and relief too much in the moment. The habit is not always the enemy. It is often an old solution to an old discomfort. The real question is not only how do you stop the habit? The deeper question is, what problem is this habit trying to solve for your nervous system? Is it trying to soothe stress, avoid shame, create stimulation, or just protect you from failure? Once you see the hidden function, the habit becomes less mysterious. Still harmful maybe, but still worth changing. This is a plausible evolutionary lens, not the only explanation. Trauma, environment, income, relationships, sleep, and mental health can all shape how habits form and how hard they are to change. A human being is not just ancient biology, but ancient biology is part of the story. Your brain did not evolve in a world where discipline had to compete with infinite entertainment, engineered food, constant comparison, and work that gives no immediate physical signal of completion. Your ancestors could see the firewood gathered. They could feel the distance walked, taste the food found, hear the group respond. Modern change is often abstract. You exercise today for a body you will feel later. You study today for a future result. You save money today for a problem that has not happened yet. You avoid the old habit today for a version of yourself that exists mostly in imagination. That is hard for a brain built to value what is near, visible, and emotionally immediate. So when you try to change, it helps to stop treating yourself like a machine that should obey commands. You are not a perfect machine. You are a survival machine, a living system made of old learning, energy limits, threat detection, reward signals, social needs, and memory. The old habit returns because some part of you learned it as a path. To build a new path, your brain needs more than a promise. It needs repetition, needs cues that support the new behavior. It needs rewards that are small enough to happen now, not only someday. And a new environment makes a huge difference in the entire process of change. I know. If you've listened this far, you already know exactly what you need to do to change. It is simply how a biological system learns. A new identity becomes real through repeated evidence. Each time you choose the new path, even in a small way, your brain gets a signal. At first, the new path feels weak. That doesn't mean it's hard. It means it is new. The old path had more practice, more emotional history. So when you fall back, it does not prove you cannot change. It proves the old path is still well trained. And a well-trained path does not disappear just because a better idea appears. The next time you return to an old habit, there is no need to turn the moment into a trial about your worth. Look at it like evidence. Something cued your nervous system, promised relief. Something made the old pattern feel useful again. Find that something, then design around it. I know this sounds confusing, but being on this channel means you're smart enough to understand. Because the goal is not to hate the ancient part of you. The goal is to teach it a new way to feel safe, rewarded, and alive. You want to change because one part of you can imagine a better future. You fall back because another part of you remembers what worked in the past. Between those two parts is the slow work of becoming. Not by defeating your brain, but by training it. Not by pretending you are only reason, but by understanding that you are also body, memory, need, fear, reward, and survival. So the next time you stand at the edge of an old habit, pause for 1 second. Not to shame yourself, not to give up, but to notice the ancient logic moving underneath the modern moment. Your brain is not trying to ruin your future. It may be trying to protect you with an old school approach. You are not only choosing a new behavior, you are teaching an old survival machine that a new path can also keep you safe.